Hi there, Dave here with a video about passing variables into modules. So what we're going to be talking about, and here is the new version of the square foot calculator. And in this version we're going to be talking about passing variables into modules. Here is a variable being passed into a module. The variable being passed in is my room name. And here's another module. Here is the input integer module, and it has a value being passed in called message. So we're talking about these kinds of things. Oh, here's a new module that we added in class. This is called Calc Square Foot 1. And it takes in two parameters. Here we built this just so we could pass in two parameters. And so we have the length and we have the width. They're going to be known as LEN here and WID here. And inside of this new routine, what we do is we set LEN to 0, and so the variables that are being passed to us, these are the addresses of those variables, we are setting the labels that we are going to call those things, we're setting it equal to 0. And then we're going to return length times width. Now, I would say for sure that it's going to return 0. It's going to return length times width. And I have no problem knowing that inside of this code I can change LEN and width to 0. The question becomes, can I change the value back in the calling program? So that would be back where? That would be right back here on this line. And let's go ahead and show the line numbers. So I'm talking about line number 21 here is where I execute that particular module. And so I'm passing in room length and I'm passing in room width, which are defined up here. They're declared up here, and they're defined by taking in input, right? That's how we do it. We take the input and we turn it into an integer, and that's what that is. So the question is, can I change the length? Can I change the width that were input by the user inside here? Inside of here? Can I change those values? Well, we're going to put up a little test here to see if I can. And so what we do is we call that routine where we set those to 0, and then after that routine is done, after it's returned the room area, then we go ahead and we display the value of the variable room length and room width. Oops, left that off. Room width. Okay. And then we return the room area. So the question becomes, is this going to impact the value that was put in up here in get room area? And the answer is no, it won't, because all of these are being passed in by val. Notice that they're all being passed in by val, which means that actually there's going to be a copy of that made, and that's what the module is going to be working with, is a copy. And so in this particular situation, we would expect that it would display the correct room length and width, but it's going to add 0 to our total because we'll be changing those length and widths to 0 down here. So let's see what it does. we'll go ahead and run the ByVal. Oops. I think it's here, just can't see it. There it is. Get up a little bit more. All right. Enter the living room length, and so we'll enter 3, and then 4, and it comes and shows me 3 and 4. Now bedroom 1. Let's do another 3 and a 4. Shows me another 3 and a 4. Let's do a 5 and a 6, and it shows me a 5 and a 6 just fine. It shows me a 5 and a 6 right here on that line, right? And it shows me the total is 0. So we did in fact change the value then inside of here. We did change that value, but we did not change the value of the length up here and the width that the user input. Now the implementation, you can take a look at the implementation. It's in Python. The implementation is very simple. It's how we've been doing it all along. We just have one more. Function here where we pass in len and wid. All right, so it's really straightforward. Now, in this next version, we pass by ref. Well, we only do one of these. And the only one that we can do, the only way we can do it in Python is to use an array, because the other data types are immutable. And so that means that they are going to be copied. They're just going to be a value key. You're not going to be able to change the value that's actually inputted from the calling program. But arrays, they're different. And so what we have here is the same code except using an array. So instead of having room length and width, we have sizes. And so here we declare our array so that it has 2 entries in it. And then we go ahead and we set the first entry, the first sizes entry, equal to our length value. And then we go ahead and do our test on that to see if it's greater than or equal to greater than 0 and less than 100. And if it does, then we go ahead and set my sizes sub 1, the second element, by the name of my sizes, equal to the width. And then we go ahead and execute calc square foot 2. But instead of passing in the individual pieces, we're going to pass in my sizes. And so that will pass in all of the array. And the first 2 elements of that array are our length and our width. And then what I do is down here, I go ahead and I display the room, the length and the width after the execution of calc square foot 2. And then I return the room area. So it's all basically the same thing, except I'm passing in an array here. Now let's take a look at square foot calc 2. What it does is it takes in an array, but arrays are passed in by reference, which means that we can actually change the value of the variable in the calling program. And that's what we're going to demonstrate next. So here we set sizes sub 0 equal to 0, and sizes sub 1 equal to 0 also, and multiply the 2. And we would expect to get 0 just like we did in the previous version, in the ByVal version. The difference, since an array, the array is passed by reference, is that we can actually change the values so that when we come back here and we display by reference the room area, the length, and the width, they should be 0 because we've changed them back here. We've changed what the user entered to be zeros. Very powerful. Okay, so let's run this thing and take a look. So now we're going to run the by ref. And there we go. It says please enter the length. And so we'll enter a 3 and a 4. And here we go. There it shows us that our length is 0 and our width is 0. So we actually did change the value of length and width back in the calling program. And so let's go ahead and do it again, just like we did in the other one. 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And notice that there it comes back with 0 square feet. So yeah, 0 times 0 is still 0. And if we look at, look at this, we can see that all of them, they're all set to 0. And so we change what the user input in the calling program. That's what this pass by ref and pass by val stuff is all about. Now, notice that everything except array is passed by val, and that's because in the implementation in Python, the only things that are passed by ref, and they're always passed by ref, are arrays and one more structure that we'll talk about later. So arrays are always passed by ref. They are never passed by val. And likewise, the other 4 data types, the string, the integer, the float, and the Boolean, are always passed by val because they're immutable. Okay, take care.